Dave. You've backburned in for another start at 10. What's the thinking there? And Noah was available for selection, I understand.
Yep. Yeah. No. Noah passed concussion protocols. Early in the week. Look, we're very happy with Bernard. The experience, and I thought it was a hell of a performance for a guy who hadn't played international for 3 years and hadn't had a game of footy for about 3 months. So, as I mentioned earlier, he gives the team a lot of confidence. Very good communicator, and so I thought a lot of his past selection was outstanding.
Or the trickiest selections you had to make, a few guys coming back as well, which helps.
Yeah, we got a few injuries out of the game. Matt Phillip has done a sternum injury that saw him come off reasonably early in the game. Rob Leota has done an Achilles. He'll be out for a long period. Obviously, he left the field the second half, I think it was. Oh, actually in the first half, wasn't it? Scott Seo did a hamstring injury, being cleaned out late in the game, and so we've got a few bumps and bruises and made a couple of changes based on that.
And one forced change, obviously Darcy Swain not playing. You thought he was unlucky to get a yellow. He's been given 6 weeks. What did you make of that ruling?
Yeah, look, it was clumsy and reckless. There's no malice in that. Obviously, I was part of the judicial process last night. It certainly it met the red card threshold, and he got punished accordingly.
The Oz tour means he can probably come back for you guys later in the year. He was always going to go on that tour, was he?
Yeah, we have about 9 in this group going. Guys like Ben Donaldson, who's been on the edge of it as well. We're keen for a number of those guys to get as much footy as possible leading into a World Cup next year. So you look at Darcy's still a young lock, second year of international footy. We're keen for him and Caden Neville, Nick Frost to go away and get a bit more footy prior to a end of year tour and maximise that. So unfortunately he's going to miss a fair bit of footy over the next month or so.
Just on that back row, I was just going to say that back row, Harry at 8 pushing Bobby to 6, and kind of just talk through the sort of decision-making process there and what you like about what Harry can bring to this side.
Yeah, obviously Rob Leota out. One option was to move Jed Holloway back to 6, but we like him at lock. Puts him in the middle of the park a lot more. He's a good carrier, good defender, and he's got a great skill set, and so. So he's been working really hard. He's leaned down a bit, and he's been desperate for an opportunity, and he gets it. So we're looking forward to seeing him go. We played him at 6 last time we played him. This time we're giving him the 8 jersey, and they should get more opportunities to carry, which would be great. They'll be a good tag team, him and Bobby.
Sorry, just on Phillip, is that long term, or do you expect him back to the spring tour? Should be fit for that first game?
No, he should be fit for the spring tour.
Hey Dave, can I ask about the Darcy Swain stuff? Because the Kiwis, are fair to say, are fuming over it. Did he or did anyone reach out to New Zealand Rugby over the action?
Well, he spoke to Quinn after the game, and then made contact with him through. I think it was Tyrell Lomax who gave him the number to try and contact him. So, I hear they're fuming. I mean, we're not that excited about Fletcher Newell's clean out on Scott Seo, which sees him out for 3 weeks, and he didn't even get cited or carded during the game. As part of our defence, we use that. They mentioned that he should have been cited as well. So, look, we're not happy. Neither's Darcy. He's not happy with the action. He's not happy with the result. But it's not malicious. He's been punished, and 6 weeks is a hefty punishment, I reckon, and obviously fitting. But like I say, Fletcher Newell, he gets to live another day.
given this rivalry doesn't need any more, extra juice in it, are you concerned it might have created a bit of bad blood that's unnecessary?
No. I mean, it's Test footy. So look, it's a competitive environment. They're desperate to win, so are we. And I thought it was just a great game of footy. I think the injuries that we just talked about to Quinn Tupaia and Scott Seal are disappointing. But it's part of the game, and like I say, Darcy's he's been punished accordingly.
That's why I've got the floor. It was reported earlier this week that Rugby Australia sent a please explain letter or just a complaint letter over officiating to World Rugby. Does that go beyond the Foley question, or are there other things in that?
I didn't write that letter. I've done what I normally do, and done a telestration where I talk over a number of clips and share my views with the ref. So we've obviously been in contact with World Rugby around it, and they agreed with our concerns. So we decided just to take it on the chin. We're going to move on. We've 7 days since we played that game. We're a couple of days away from a big game in Auckland, and that's our focus now. Okay,
and just lastly, Vunivalu, did he come into your thoughts for the squad at all? Is he far away?
He's not far away. It's a very competitive spot. He needs to convince us at training around high speed and repeat speed. He's certainly got some attributes that we know he'd excel at this level, but it's the whole package. And when you look at people like in the backfield, Callaway and Tom Wright, Marika, who got a massive work ethic, I'm not sure if everyone appreciates the work those guys do off the ball. The decision making around starting those three is pretty straightforward.
Thank you.
Dave, can you just confirm, was the Fletcher New incident, did that directly lead to the CEO injury?
Yeah.
Okay. Secondly, Tom Banks is in that Aussies squad. Is it clearly, like, you've never shut the book on him, but is there a thought that he might play in the spring tour, or is his selection viewed as a long-term play with the World Cup next year?
No, he's a chance to tour. Obviously, we want to get some footy into him. We sort of hoped he'd be back a bit earlier. So, going to Japan will get some footy into him and then give us an understanding of where he's at and whether we include him for the European tour.
Sure. And just, it's been a week now, but has the blood kind of simmered? Or have you, like the team, never been more fired up for a match?
There's a lot of motivating points in there. I know Rico Wani had a lot to say to our boys after the final try, mouthing off at Folau Fainga around disrespecting the haka, and which is a bit odd, because as New Zealanders would know, when a team does a haka, you respond with a haka. We don't have the luxury of having a haka, so our response is in the boomerang shape and to move forward, and they're throwing down a challenge, we're accepting it. There's a fair bit of banter goes on in the field, and just adds to the theatre, I think.
Is that banter, or is that disrespect there from Rico, the mouthing off?
Oh, it's standard.
Dave, can I ask about Bernard Foley and the spring tour? Do you have any kind of idea if he's definitely available for that, or if it's a wait and see, or how that's shaping up?
Yeah, I mean, we're working through things at the moment. He's very interested. He's very interested in touring. We're keen for him to go. We're just making sure that from a Kubota perspective, that they're happy. But initial talks have been supportive. But we'll get clarity over the next couple of weeks.
Thank you. And just going back on something earlier, when you mentioned that at the judiciary, I think you said they mentioned that he should have been cited as well. Can you explain, who mentioned that? Was that the judiciary panel brought that up, or was that your representatives, or where did that kind of come from?
No, that came as part of our defence. We just decided that, when Darcy did that, he's technically got it wrong. He's the intent to clean out. He's misfired a little bit. Instead of clawing a leg and clawing under what we call breaking the window, he couldn't quite get in there because someone had blocked his path, and so he ends up twisting and then clumsily landing on a leg. So, he's been punished for that. But we highlighted what he was trying to do and used a couple of examples from the game, and one was a good one where Sam Whitelock, he cleaned out in a similar fashion to Darcy, but did it accurately and effectively. And the other one we used was Fletcher Newell's, where very similar to Darcy, and he's landed on Scott Seo's leg, and he's done a hammy based on that. So in the end, you can't use it as a defence, but we're just highlighting the fact that we've got one incident that's been picked up, punished on field and off field, and another example that's been glossed over.
Thank you. Just finally from me, on the All Blacks squad name today, kind of your thoughts on, obviously a couple of big names are out, but a couple of big names are back as well. What do you make of that?
Oh, look, as All Black sides are, they are incredibly strong. You lose someone like Sam Cane out of that loose trio, but you bring in Artie Savia. So, and obviously Bodie Barrett gets to start at 15. Probably one of the best 15s in the world, so it's a hell of a replacement in it. So, look, we've got a huge amount of respect for them. We're well aware that we need to be at our best to be in with the show at Eden Park, but we're excited, we're prepared really well, and we're keen to rip in.
When you mentioned that World Rugby agreed with some of your points that you came across, are you speaking specifically to an incident or the end with Bernard with the time wasting? Is like that conceding that might not have been the right call at the right time, or are you talking about other points?
No, I'm talking about the end of the game.
Does that make it better or worse that they concede that now?
Yeah, like as I said before, we're just at a stage where we're going to move on. We seeked a bit of clarity. We've got that. It's not going to help us win on the weekend. So, our focus has been on our preparation and making sure we can throw everything at it on Saturday.
And just lastly, does Rico Ioane firing up, let's stop the group doing the boomerang formation again if required this week?
No, I mean that's our reply. It's how we respond, and I was just a bit surprised that he thinks it's disrespectful. Is the expectation that we just stand there and they throw a challenge at us and we do nothing, just take it. So we think it's a very respectful way of responding, and it's unique to us because of the boomerang shape, and we won't be stopping that.
Dave, can I just ask as well, we know the records, the history of Australian matches against the All Blacks in New Zealand, but the idea of responding, last week was a good performance, but can you do it again in a second match? So is this match just as significant? World Cup, obviously a year away, and how important is that for your ambitions going forward with the Wallabies?
Yeah, look, it's massive because playing New Zealand in New Zealand, as we know, is a difficult task. But look, as I've mentioned before, it's the same size pitch as last week. We've got to ensure that we can bring the same sort of intensity. I thought the mindset and the attitude was excellent. We got behind early and managed to claw our way back into it. We lacked discipline, got punished, and the All Blacks punished us on the scoreboard while we were down in numbers. But we showed a huge amount of character to come back into the game. So, you can't give the All Blacks time and space, and you certainly can't try and play them with 13 players. So there's a number of areas that we need to be better, but if we can replicate the same mindset and physicality, then we're in with the show.
Do you feel like the Wallabies need to fire a shot to get some credibility on the world stage? And is that important, or is that just a media kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, the only credibility we're trying to get is the people who support us, and you only do that by performing week in, week out. So, look, last week there was a lot of positives, but we lost. So we need to go one better this week.
Last couple, please, guys, if anything else.
Dave, with the number of injuries you've had, how significant is it to you that someone like Andrew Kellaway's gone from wing to fullback and played well, and Lalakai Faketti's come in as the third inside centre and played very, very well last week in a big theatre, and I guess relevant, Pete Samu as well. What relevant to that? What do you want to see from Harry Wilson in this sort of big forum where he's in another restructured back row?
Yeah, no, you're right. That's been the great thing. We've had a lot of injuries, but it's given opportunity for others to play. And we've had a number of guys who've really fronted, so it's given us confidence that we've got a lot of depth within the squad, and we really rate Will. So there's massive competition in that spot, and based on us playing Pete at 7 with Rob Leota out, with us moving Jed Holloway to lock, there's a genuine opportunity for Harry, not only in this test but in the European tour. So he's well aware of the importance of that, and he's pretty keen to have a big performance in the weekend.
Dave, did you particularly request Max Jorgensen go on the Australia A tour because you've seen things about him that you really are excited about?
Look, obviously we talked about taking Max away from a development perspective, and so it's a great opportunity. It's a great opportunity for our A coaches to spend a bit of time with him and get to know him a bit better and give him an understanding of professional footy. So exciting that he's committed to rugby, and he'll enjoy the first couple of weeks of that Japanese tour.
Thanks.
Anything else for Dave?
Sorry. Just with the Caden Neville selection, I mean, what does he kind of bring to the locks for you?
Yeah, like he's a big man, uncomplicated Caden. So, he's a very good scrummaging, tight head lock, very good maul and defensive maul. Big target at line out time, and he'll tackle and he'll hit rucks and he'll carry, and probably won't worry too much about all the flash stuff. So, he won't play 80 minutes. Based on the fact that he's his first game back from a reasonably lengthy injury post England. So, we just want a lot of energy and a lot of physicality out of him, and that's what he normally delivers.
I guess you kind of touched on it there. Obviously, he's had a lengthy injury. How is he feeling, and what type of minutes do you expect him to kind of give before we kind of turn to his fellow Brumbies teammate, Nick Frost?
Yeah, I mean, we'll judge that based on what we see, but whether that's 50 or 55, somewhere around that length of time, and but you never know with footy, do you? If someone else gets injured and all of a sudden the big rig's got to go 80. He's a tough bugger. He's just excited to be back in the mix.
Anything else, guys? Thanks, Dave.
Yeah, hi Dave.
Sorry, David.
Sorry.
We just got to wrap it up soon. Sorry, guys.
Fire away.
Oh, thanks. Just with the feeling there is between the teams at the moment, is there a danger that it could be a ball line, or things get out of control? And have you got to your guys got to rise above anything like that on Saturday?
I mean, we're not talking about any of that. As you know, I don't read a lot of media anyway. But if there's things being said, it's typical ramble heading into a big test match, and while we're disappointed we're not going to Eden Park with a chance of winning, Bledisloe Cup. It's a fairly big game for the All Blacks still, with a rugby championship crown up for grabs. So, we're taking the game very seriously. It's a big match for us. It's a big match for them, and so there'll be a bit of hype around it, and the fact that there was a bit of controversy at the end of the game, but it was still an unbelievable game of footy, and you speak to anyone who was there, the great thing about Melbourne indoor stadium with dry ball and no wind. Meant for a positive game from two positive teams. So, I think you'll still have two teams that want to play a bit of footy at Eden Park, and as we know, it's all those games are very physical.
Thanks.
Anything else, guys? Maybe.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate your time. I'll be on the